NSC Fan TV. Drew here with Scott after
Zero. Hey, but I'm happy with a tie.
happy with the tie. You know,
Happy with a tie.
but you know what? Joe Willis got a clean sheet and man of the match naturally for his pivotal save.
So, yeah, let's talk about Joe.
Okay.
Some really great saves, and partly because of the fact that some balls got loose. Castellanos, despite the fact not scoring any goals, had a pretty good game against us. Caused some problems.
He did.
And that Rodriguez, frosted tips.
Frosted Tips bowl cut. So Castellanos is just frosted
tips.
If you take that out of bowl cut, you get Rodriguez. But I think he was loose.
He was loose a lot.
He was loose.
He was loose a lot.
It was hard to cover him along with Castellanos and Medina at the same time.
I think Medina didn't have a great game, but he did cause some problems here and there, especially on that little corner kick that they had.
Yeah,
they had the little overlap. So yeah, between the three of those, and then Max Morales kind of coming up a little bit, they caused some problems for us. Joe bailed us out. There were a number of times where I think that Miller actually had maybe the best game of the back three.
I think that's true. Mayer was worrying, like that chance where all he did was just sort of head it and then not chase it.
Oh yeah, there was the Romney Romney soft header
yeah.
And that was
I think that was the one good chance that
that their Rodriguez had.
It wasn't Rodriguez. No. It was Was that Morales?
It might have been Morales.
I think it was Morales.
But they had that good chance with that really soft header, and then it looked like Romney thought Zimmerman was like, no, if you're gonna have a soft header like that, you have to chase
it. No. You're just gonna sit there and let it happen.
Yeah, but so Joe bailed us out on that one.
Yeah.
So Willis, consistent goalkeeping, totally deserved man of the match. And another clean sheet, and so and you know, sometimes defenses just don't have some clicking, but I think there was one element to the defense that I think contributed to them not clicking, which is something that we've complained about a lot of times. You want to say it? You say it.
I could say it. It's Zimmerman not getting back after being up front for the corners.
Yeah,
or falling down and saying help.
Hey,
it's like, no, get up and get back.
I have to argue my case. You guys play defense for a minute. So that was pretty frustrating, and that did create a pretty good chance for them late in the game.
He's right. We've got three central defenders, but he is the middle, and the heart and the core of our central defenders. So he's dead in the center,
and
across from Willis.
And this case was one where it was a set piece in the sense in which a Romney throw is a set piece, and so of course so Romney's up to make the throw. Zimmerman's in the center to receive. Yeah. And the consequence was that when Zimmerman went down and then was pleading his case and then getting all angry with folks, the ball was on counter. Romney was trucking ass to get back, and Zimmerman's trotting back. And so, you know, he has so many upsides, but this has been consistently a difficulty that I've had with his game. And today it almost beat it. We almost had a loss.
I think there were a couple of chances they had where I thought, well, there it is. We lose.
Yep.
But then again, on the flip side, we had two really big chances that we couldn't quite convert, but that I thought were huge. The first one was Lovitz.
Was that Lovitz? So it was Washington down that left wing.
Yeah, Washington. He flew. At first, I didn't think he was having a good game.
He wasn't having a good game.
I don't think he was having a good game at all. Then he came flying down that wing.
Great cross.
And sent a beautiful cross in. And then Lovitz really should have been scoring. You saw it from the angle dead on behind him.
It was that far off.
Yeah, it was that far off, but the keeper wouldn't have made it there.
He would not have made it.
All he needed to do was line things up a little more carefully. Right?
So what was the other chance that you were thinking of? I've got one in my mind, but
the other chance, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Leal.
It's Leal.
It was Leal, I think. Right? I can't.
Well, so the one that I have in mind was the corner that came off of Zimmerman's head and ended up at Anunga's feet, and Anunga kind of was a little wrong-footed with it and leaned back and booted it over. And then there was another one.
That was actually, so there are three big chances. Yeah. That's true. But there was a chance where Leal had got loose.
Yes.
And nobody was home in the middle. And I think honestly, all it would have taken was somebody to be there. But Sapong was on empty at that point.
Sapong was on empty, right. and I think that Mukhtar was back helping out with the midfield,
I was wondering why he was there. And then too, Romney, you had said this. Maybe they settled things earlier. there's a point where Romney was like down the pitch.
Yeah. Romney was up playing an 8.
I was like, why is he playing 8? Why is he up there?
And our number 10 was back on the back line.
Mukhtar was like back. This is weird. But I think even so, lineup wise, just keep going. Lovett starting off on the right wing was also weird.
Yeah,
that was rectified in the second half. But I think even
nice job, Smith fixing it.
But even Gary Smith admitted, right, that he wasn't the.
So I think
the wingers weren't playing the positions they were used to.
I think that things might have looked a little bit different if our front 3 had Leal instead of Muil. And Smith even said this in the interview afterwards. Muil is a great hustle kid, but for some reason the control's not there, and I think that had Leal been in that spot, things might have been a little bit different.
So you're looking for the MLS start.
I think the MLS should be our default, and if Leal's available to play 45 minutes or more, then we should be starting it. Those 3 have just got the special spice with each other. And I just think that if we're going to be playing them, we need to be playing them instead of kind of peppering them in and having a little bit of overlap, because it's those 3 that I think has got the special sauce.
I agree with that. On that front, though, I was a bit disappointed with the way Gary Smith handled that in the post-match interview. I don't know if that's the role of a manager.
We get to say Muil.
We get to say that Muil's hustle kid with no clinical ability.
Yeah, I think that maybe was an error, but maybe that's a kind of a lighting a fire, like Phil Jackson style.
That could be. That could be. But I don't singling a player out like that. This is our second season in MLS. Just already going in and just. This kid was a problem. We put Rios on. And even that wasn't enough.
And that wasn't enough.
I mean, it's okay to say that the subs didn't work out.
Right.
It's okay to say that they added intensity but couldn't deliver.
Right.
But I'm not sure
But using his proper names. Using a proper name to do
using
that.
proper names like that. Yeah. Only in dramatic cases do I think that makes sense.
To give praise, that's definitely the case.
To give praise, yeah. But anyway, so enough about it.
So let's just so maybe this is a coaching error, but certainly just an observation. It was just how flat.
It is and I think he was. I don't think he was wrong. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, Smith was right. So Smith in the interview did say we started flat. But in some ways, that wasn't about them. That was really more about him. Where it's like, look, if he knows that most MLS teams start flat whenever they have a midday game, then he needs to fix that.
And if you know that people like Moyle are going to start flat regardless, but have hustle,
right? Then it's like he needs to give more caffeine to the rest of the team, less caffeine to Moyle. Be like, look, you have a cup of coffee before it. Not you, Alex. Go for the decaf. But whatever. It seems to me that if the coach knows that, and he knows that most teams start flat, and this team does, then there are ways to fix that. Have them warm up longer. Have them do some sprints. Have them play some have them do something.
Have them drink a Red Bull before the game.
Wrong team.
This is wrong team. This isn't sponsored by them. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, if he knew this,
he should have adjusted accordingly. Right. I mean, he even admitted too that the fullbacks weren't in their natural position. Well, why do you put... It worked in the Atlanta game, but why are you consistently trying to start Lovett on the right?
It worked.
I get the idea because since he's left, it contributes to him drifting inwards.
And it'll allow these sort of straighter balls to kind of go up from him. But
and when we're playing 2 on the wings, like we've been doing, like one going forward, one kind of like supporting, then it can leave space for the other person to go down that wing. And that could be interesting because you draw defenders into the center and help with crosses later,
and there were some moments that I think that in the first half where I think that the communication between Lovitz and Miller was actually very positive.
Yeah,
because Lovitz was able to come back and be able to occupy that spot, and Miller kind of came up into that winger outside midfield spot. So I thought that there were some positives there, but I don't think that it was working. And again, part of it may have been the sort of a global 11-man malaise that we seem to be in the first half, because the thing that was the most concerning to me was that it required, because this was a point, and it was a gritty point, and it was a hard point, and it was one that was a fretted point, but it's a point that we'll take because it's a point on the road. It's a point against another playoff team. They don't gain on us.
Where it's a way like you had been saying, but I still do think I'm just replaying in my head. Gary's been saying, those midday games. It's like when you look at what Jamie Vardy does before a game. Leicester, right? He drinks a ton of caffeine. He drinks wine the night before to get to sleep. Then he drinks like a Red Bull, and he's always like, huge eyes during the whole game, just staring down the goalie, like.
So we don't have to do that, but we
don't have to do that.
We have to have something that gets us up for that game. But here's the thing that was the most concerning, because because defense played well, Joe played well, but they still scored a goal on us from a set piece. And it required VAR to bail us out.
Medina, right?
Yeah,
Medina.
Or
no, it's Morales.
No, it's one of their. So it was one of their central defenders with the header.
So it wasn't Medina.
It wasn't either of those guys. I think it was Medina who sent the ball in.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
But anyhow, I don't remember who got the ball in because it turns out it wasn't a goal.
It turns out it wasn't a goal.
But it required VAR to bail us out.
Well, we had our away section going
VAR. We heard him on the television. Yeah. But that was a case where, look, it's another case of a set piece, and we're not ready, and we get beat on a set piece. And it requires, and this is the case where it requires VAR to bail us out.
And the thing about VAR is it has to be a clear and obvious error for them to look at the case.
I'm sitting at home and it didn't look that clear and obvious.
I didn't think it looked clear and obvious. I thought we were just down one early in the first half.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to chase this game. Maybe we'll wake up now.
Maybe It ended up being a clean sheet, but I didn't think it was for the longest.
Yeah, it was less a clean sheet and more a smudgy sheet.
A smudgy sheet,
like one end, and they had to erase it.
Yeah, you saw them with the wrong answer.
It's still a 0, but a smudgy 0.
Yeah.
So this is another case where it's like, look. If there's one thing about this team that is the most concerning thing about this team, there are so many upsides. Okay. It's a well-oiled front three. I think that the defense is very consistent. That we've got a great goalkeeper. We've got wingers who run their butts off. There are a lot of upsides to this team and a lot of things to like about this team. But whenever another team has got a spot kick within about 30 yards of our goal, where do my fingernails go? We're running around like we don't even know, like to cover them or to push them or I just got pushed by that guy.
People get loose easily too. I think it was Castellanos who got loose in that corner they got in the second half. Where I was like, he's free. That's over. All they've got to do is go far left on the kick and then.
And it was Castellanos and that central defender who, I think it was only Johnston who's on the backside for that. And it was those two, Johnston, and then they come crashing in on Willis. The ball ends up on the backside, of course. We forget to watch the backside. Jeez. Yeah. And so it's just Johnston, those two guys. They crash Willis. And then they have this stupid collision with him. And so not only do we leave the backside open, we leave their most, and it was on that one, we left their most dangerous player for set pieces completely open. He was totally free. And they run into Willis and it looked like he even get kicked in the groin.
I was going to say, it was like inner thigh.
Really maybe some junk, I don't know.
And so I'm just thinking in terms of players and ranking, maybe to close out.
Yeah.
But I'm remembering you were right about the big Anunga chance. There was the Leal chance.
Yeah.
The Lovitz chance and then the Nunga chance where he leaned back and I was
and there was one other little chance where Johnston was there was a ball that was kind of loose and it came back to Johnson and he shinned it.
He shinned it, that's right.
But so whatever. I mean the ball was bounced weird and things like that, but he shinned it. So there were a number of chances, and again this team creates those kinds of chances. It's the fact that whenever the other team has got a set piece. And
we sit on our hands for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
We twiddle our thumbs and we just watch Castellanos fly.
Watch him get loose. And you're like, someone else will get him.
Well, and everyone's thinking that no one gets him,
And then no one gets him. Okay, so I've got my list. Set pieces. We had some problems in the midfield again, and that created all sorts of hasty long balls. But we've covered that.
Unfortunately. I mean,
I know.
Well, I think maybe. So speaking of midfield, I thought that was all the points, but midfield we haven't said enough. But you mentioned we have all the good points: consistent defense, good front three, good wingers, hustle. Where's that glue in the midfield?
It's the glue in the midfield.
Where's that glue in the midfield? Without Dax starting,
without Dax playing 90. we have a problem.
Where's that glue in the midfield? I don't see it.
And again, this isn't to take too much away from the play that we saw from Godoy or Anunga.
That's right. I think Godoy had a good game.
I think that they both had good games.
I'm admitting this.
You're pretty negative on this guy.
Godoy had a good game.
I think Godoy had a good game, and I thought that Anunga had a good game. I mean, but they're both good tacklers, and they're both and they both know how to chase, and they're both relentless. They're both 90-minute players.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's one element to their game which is not a game for MLS, which is control the ball, look up, find people that are open, and not make and if they're not make a stupid hasty pass.
Their play is in that sense,
and that's Anunga's problem.
Yeah,
that's Anunga's problem.
His play is pretty narrow. I think Godoy's play is not as narrow as Anunga's, and Anunga's play is very narrow.
Anunga gets the ball, looks up, and if he doesn't see the pass, then he makes a bad one.
He will dig it out with expert tier.
He's the best. He's the best central. He's the best tackler.
Just bulldoggery.
In the midfield. Yes,
yeah. And then if he doesn't see anybody within like 3 or 4 yards. And he looks up, he's just gonna give it away.
Yeah.
Chances are.
So he is that was a very frustrating part of his play today.
Yeah.
I think that Godoy had some good hold up play for us, so he would get a little bit ahead. So Anunga kind of played more in front of the defense, and Godoy played a little bit more forward. He had some good hold up play, but the difference between those two and Maxi Morales today was pretty profound.
Yeah.
And so I think the challenge for us is being able to find ways for either that core three that we've got in the midfield.
Yeah.
Finding some way for those three to be able to have some magic, and not have to have it always be on Dax to be able to create that. Because one, that's not a good plan going forward. No. Two, he can't play 90 every game. We need to be able to find a way for that to consistently happen.
You have to find the glue in the midfield. So, NSC Fan TV signing off.